Hi guys, my name's so slang. My name's Jose Villablanca, the founder and CEO of HoliFit, which is an employee engagement company that reduces stress at the workplace and increases productivity. So today, I want to share a few tips on how to run a great team building day, weekend maybe. So I want to share with you what has worked for us and what hasn't really worked well, so you can avoid those mistakes and just work on the things that actually work. First tip is make sure your team building event is fun, yet learnable, educational. I would recommend for you guys is Dragon Tail. 99% of our clients love this. The 1%, they're the ones that are usually scared or they worry too much, right? Because someone might fall. It's pretty physical, but what we teach here at Dragon Tail, this game, is you're only as strong as your weakest link. So if you can visualize a bike chain, it doesn't matter how big the links are for that chain. If there's one tiny, rusty, weak link among the chain, it will break there. Doesn't matter if everything else is twice the size, twice as better, twice as productive, twice as resilient from stress, right? The link represents each person in the team, and the team represents the whole chain. So we talk about working as a team. If, for example, we have a project at HoliFit, someone in finance, someone in creatives, someone, our account manager, myself, we work as a team. So some of them are better, more creative, while the others are more logical, right, numbers-based. But we have to finish a project and work as a team. So walang iwanan, kumbaga, right? Can't leave anyone behind. So that's the first step, working as a team. The second here is if the project is going towards somewhere where we have to be very analytical and numbers-based, we can't leave the creatives behind, right? That's why they're creative. They're not as, mathy or logical. The last thing is walang iwanan. I just said that. So pretty much it. So the focus of this game is you have to work as a unit. The front of the dragon is usually the leader, and the back is usually like more of the saver, the preventive guy, loss aversion guy, who prevents, being eliminated, right? Without saying too much about the game, just book a consult and we'll explain more to you. But yes, they have to work as a team. So the front, make sure that everyone behind gets to run as fast as he does, or he basically has to slow down, right? Because there are 3 strikes and then they're out as a team. So the goal of this game is to be the only team standing. So it's not just what we say, but it's also what we don't say in order for you to win. Next game is called Frostbite. This is a fun game where we work on communication. This is a game where everyone's an Arctic explorer. They're out in the Arctic, they're exploring, and then all of a sudden there's a snowstorm. So what people have to do here is understand, they have to choose and delegate a leader. Now that leader has to communicate very, very clearly. We try to teach the team when they play this. When you give directions, make sure it's quantifiable, all right? So there's no room for misunderstanding. Now, the rest of the team basically has to trust their leader, has to really listen attentively, because they will delegate, they will talk amongst each other, they will strategize before the start of the game. And it's very important that they have a strategy and agree upon it before the start of the game, because working under pressure as a team with limited communication makes a big difference here. Leader won't be able to touch anything, while the followers won't be able to see anything. So someone has to see for the whole team. The leader has to see for the whole team, while everyone else has to listen and be the hands for the team. So there you have it. Frostbite is another great tabletop game that works on communication and speaking clearly. It easily translates to the workplace. The next thing is laughter yoga. We don't do any yoga poses here. It's more about the yogic breathing, so deep belly breaths. When you do that a few times, you train your body. You tell your body, your mind is telling your mind that you're relaxed, so there's nothing to worry about. Because what happens when we're stressed? We tighten up. Our breathing is very shallow, right? That's our fight or flight system getting ready to fight our stressors or fly away from our stressor. So laughter yoga, what we try to instill and what they can learn from this is the mind-body connection. So the other part, laughter yoga, so I talked about the yogic breathing. The first part is laughter. Smiling. It's been actually said that when you smile or laugh, it actually changes the way you feel. You fake it until you make it. So that's what we try to do here. If you're stressed, deadlines, right? Start smiling in front of the mirror for a few minutes. And it becomes, I know it feels weird at first, but eventually it becomes legitimate. All right, so that's what we teach at the end. What you do to the body affects the mind. So for example, I'm typing away, working. What's happening here to my body is I'm rounded in. My rib cage is pressing against my lungs, which means I have shallow breathing, right? But if you have better posture, you can breathe better. When you breathe better, you don't feel as stressed, all right? Your body's saying, okay, you can take deep breaths now, so he's obviously not stressed. So there you have it. We talk about the mind-body connection, and that's essentially what the name of my company is, HoliFit. It's a holistic approach to fitness. Lastly, we have Coat of Arms. So this is a great game to play at the end of the day. While previously mentioned, laughter yoga is a great icebreaker to play at the start of the day. And again, every game we debrief, we explain to them how this correlates to work, how they can apply it to work, and not just for the team building day itself. So Coat of Arms. We work on empathy and just simple feel-good vibes. The people in the organization that really love this game are the HR leaders, business owner, the CEO. They enjoy it because they get to understand how their employees think about themselves, or their role in the company, or their role in the next few years personally as well, because we ask them to share about themselves. For example, the first thing is, what's your spirit animal and why? So then they say, I'm an ant. My spirit animal is an ant because I'm small, but pound for pound, I can lift a lot of weight, mental weight, physical weight, emotional weight, whatever it may be, right? The second quadrant would be where you see yourself in the next 5 years personally. And then the third quadrant would be where you see yourself in the next 5 years professionally. So we can easily change a few things depending on how the client wants the team building event to go. But yeah, that's a really great way to build empathy. You build empathy, you can relate, and which means you become more patient amongst each other, especially at the workplace. So again, those are the tips that we have for team building. Those are the top games that we do have. If you want to learn more on how to work on communication, trust, and a few other usual team building goals, contact us today, and we'll book a meeting with you guys. Thanks for watching.